I'm Alastair MacDonald and I'm the Head of Advisory Portfolio Management in the UK for Willis Towers Watson. Whilst my job title is a bit complicated, I think in simple terms I effectively act as a Chief Investment Officer for our advisory business, and I think when I talk to people about what I do, the thing I always emphasise is it's probably less to do with the I bit and more about the C and O bit. Well, I think the big thing is the variety. Markets, you just don't know. People say, oh, I've got a bit bored of my job, I need to change role, it's a bit stale. You don't really find that when you work in a senior position in investment, because the markets are just going to change. You do wear different hats, you're working for multiple clients, there is an internal hat, a management hat, a commercial hat, but also, let's not forget, you're helping your client manage their affairs in a commercial way as well, so you need to always have their perspective at front and foremost of your mind. Post the credit crunch, the industry is in a very different place. I was kind of lucky enough to join when it was all about growth in financial services. That's not the mood music at the moment. We're not seeing that kind of growth, and that creates its own challenges, but I think it creates its own opportunities. I think the opportunities will always be there. It's just a matter of knowing how you're wired as a person. Are you wired the right way to work in investment? Are you comfortable taking what could be a risky decision based on very limited information that you take very quickly? Because in investment, the right decision at the wrong time is the wrong decision. I have to be honest, I joined the profession when they were just starting to introduce investment exams, so I'm not sure. I think now it's very different, and a lot of the content is highly relevant that you will learn, so you'll be able to get some of the investment content firsthand in the exams. But I think the actuarial skill set does give you a good grounding and understanding that everyone has liabilities. Fundamentally, there's no one is just throwing money away and investing it because it's a plaything. Ultimately, at some point, even if it's a rainy day fund, they're going to spend it on something. There are some liabilities, some objectives, and you need to invest relative to those liabilities. And that is just very natural to an actuary, that mindset. Similarly, the focus on being a bit more quantitative about it, thinking about risk, is very natural to an actuary, and you definitely need to do that. There is very much a risk and quantitative grounding required in investment. It's not sufficient to be a good investor, but it certainly is a key part. I think that networking is important, because it's not a very big industry. Even in London, which is maybe the world centre of investment, it's not a huge industry, and there are plenty of actuaries working in most of the firms or places you'd want to work at. So yes, by all means, try and network, get in touch with them, get an understanding of what they do and the organisation they work in. What do I look for when I'm hiring someone for an investment job? I'm looking for someone who is interested in what's going on in the world through an investment lens, and someone who's interested in how they invest their own money. My favourite question is, how do you invest your money? Because if you're not interested in investing your own money, then you're not going to be interested in investing someone else's money. And if you can't describe to me how you've invested your own money, then you're not going to have a chance of convincing me how to invest my money. So I think if it's about staying on top of investment issues, that's easy if you already work in an investment role. It's much more challenging if you don't. So if you're a student actuary, you're working in an insurance company or a pension consulting, you're not naturally going to get exposed to investment issues and investment content. I think you've got to speak to the people you work with, the peers, senior people, try and understand what they perceive you as being good at, make sure they give you opportunities to maybe develop the areas where you feel you're lacking, because that might not be you're lacking because you don't have the capabilities, it may be you just don't have the experience, so kind of make sure you get that experience. And also just understanding what role you're aiming for. We're talking here about CIOs. Yes, there's only one CIO. To be honest, the CIOs I advise come in lots of different flavours, so there's no such thing as a identikit Mr. CIO out there. They all look different because they've had different backgrounds. But the important thing is, within their team, they have people that complement them. So in aggregate, the investment office has all the skills they need, or the investment office plus people like myself advising them have all the skills that they need. So there's plenty of scope, no matter what, how you're wired, to find a role in that. And it's those who develop some of the C skills can, irrespective of how they think about life, can go on to maybe be the CIO and lead that team.